You are 45 years old. You are standing in the ruins of a submerged suburb, staring at a fallen oak tree, crushing your supply cash. In your head, you are still the varsity linebacker. Who could bench press a book? You grab the branch, you brace your core, you heave, and then you hear a sound, like a dry twig snapping inside your own body. It's not the tree moving, it's your distal biceps tendon rolling up your arm like a broken window shade. You don't scream because of the pain. You scream because you just realize the math has changed. In the old world, a torn bicep meant surgery and 6 weeks of physical therapy. In this world, it means you can't climb a fence, you can't draw a bow, and you can't carry water. It means you are dead in 72 hours. Welcome to the silent apocalypse happening inside your own skin. It is called sarcopenia, and it is the reason the lone wolf fantasy is a suicide note for anyone over 35. Today we are going to dissect the brutal biology of aging, why your body is actively trying to dissolve its horsepower, and how to survive when you can no longer out-muscle the end of the world. We aren't going to lie to you and tell you that yoga will save you. We are going to teach you how to replace muscle with physics and ego with leverage. Let's start with the biological betrayal. You think your muscles are permanent. They aren't. They are a use-it-or-lose-it rental agreement, and the landlord is getting greedy. Starting at age 30, you lose 3 to 5% of your muscle mass per decade. By age 60, that accelerates. But here is the terrifying part that nobody talks about. You don't just lose muscle, you lose a specific kind of muscle. Your body has two main types of fibers. Type 1 is for endurance, walking, standing, carrying light loads. Type 2 is for explosive power, sprinting, fighting, lifting a heavy debris pile off your legs. Guess which ones die first? Aging specifically targets your type 2 fibers. The nerves that trigger them literally disconnect and die off. This means you might still be able to hike all day, but when a looter kicks down your door or a wall collapses, you don't have the explosive snap. You have become a diesel engine in a drag race. You have torque but zero acceleration. And in a collapse scenario, acceleration keeps you from getting stabbed. Most people think they can just train their way out. They think if they do enough push-ups now they'll be ready. That is a partial truth that will get you killed. The problem isn't just strength, it's recovery. In your 20s, you could run 10 miles, sleep for 4 hours on a floor, and do it again the next day. That is a superpower you no longer possess. Inflammation is the enemy. As you age, your body's ability to clear chemical waste slows. If you have to sprint for your life on Monday, your cortisol and inflammation levels will be so high on Tuesday that you will be functionally crippled. A younger rival can attack you, fail, retreat, and come back 6 hours later fresh as a daisy. You are still icing your knees and bargaining with God. This is the refractory period of survival. Your cooldown timer is broken. So why do we see old man strength? Why can a 50-year-old farmer crush a handshake? That is neural efficiency. Over decades, your brain learned to recruit more muscle fibers. It's dense, wiry strength, but it comes with a catch. It is brittle. Your muscles might be strong, but your connective tissue, the tendons and ligaments, are losing elasticity. They are drying out like old rubber bands. If you try to use that old man's strength suddenly, the muscle holds but the connector snaps. In a survival situation where movements are chaotic, unpredictable, and violent, brittle strength is a liability. You need to stop moving like a superhero and start moving like a forklift. This brings us to the biggest lie: the solo survivor. If you are over 40, the lone wolf strategy is impossible. You literally cannot carry enough calories to sustain the muscle mass required to defend those calories. It is a thermodynamic death spiral. To maintain high muscle mass in older age, you need significantly more protein than a 20-year-old. This is because of something called anabolic resistance. Your body just doesn't absorb protein as well anymore. In a famine scenario where you are eating rice and rats, your body will cannibalize your muscle tissue for fuel. You will shrink, you will weaken, and the heavy pack you designed in your garage will become an anchor that drowns you. You need to change the equation. You cannot rely on biological horsepower anymore. You have to switch to mechanical advantage. This is where physics saves your life. If you are trying to lift a heavy log by bending over and pulling, you are relying on the erector spinae muscles in your back. If those fail, you are paralyzed. Instead, you need to become a master of the wedge and the lever, a 60-year-old using a 6-foot pry bar can generate more force than 320-year-old gym rats. Your gear needs to change. Throw away the heavy tactical vest. It compresses your spine and overheats your aging cardiovascular system. You need a Cart A wheelbarrow, a travois made of PVC pipe. The wheel was invented for a reason, to let weak humans move heavy things. If you are carrying 50 pounds on your back, you are an idiot. If you are dragging 200 pounds on a sled, you are an engineer. Let's talk about violence. If you get into a hand-to-hand struggle with someone half your age, you will lose. They have faster reaction times, better visual acuity, and their joints bend in ways yours stopped bending in 1998. If you try to box them, they will slip your punch and break your jaw. Your strategy must shift from fighting to unfair advantage. You don't have the reflexes for a fair fight, so never enter one. This is the treachery protocol. You use barriers, you use choke points, you use traps. A 20-year-old trusts his speed, he will run through a door. You trust your fragility, you nail the door shut and put broken glass under the window. Dig ankle breaker holes in your perimeter. Hang noise curtains made of empty cans so you don't need to see them to know they are there. Your goal is not to win the fight. It is to make the fight so painful and geometrically difficult for the attacker that they choose a different target. You are not a warrior anymore, you are a hazardous environment. But the ultimate fix isn't a pry bar or a booby trap, it is a tribe. This is the hard pill to swallow for the misanthropes. You need younger people. This isn't charity, it's historical precedent. For 200,000 years, the elders weren't burdens. They were the software that ran the tribe's hardware. You have the crystallized intelligence, the knowledge of how to fix a generator, how to suture a wound, how to calm a panic. They have the fluid intelligence, the reaction speed, the night vision, the back strength. You trade your wisdom for their horsepower. A solo 60-year-old is prey. A 60-year-old directing 320-year-olds is a warlord. You are the cortex, they are the hands. If you isolate yourself because you hate people, you are throwing away your only evolutionary advantage. Let's look at the sensory decay. It's not just muscles. Your eyes after 40, you lose the ability to focus quickly. It's called presbyopia in a firefight or a hunt. That split-second lag in focus is the difference between spotting a threat and taking a round. Your night vision degrades. Your hearing loses the high frequencies, the exact frequency of a snapping twig in the woods. You are biologically becoming less aware of your surroundings. You need to compensate with technology and paranoia. If you can't trust your ears, you need tripwires with bells. If you can't trust your eyes, you need brighter perimeter lights or a dog. A dog is a hearing aid with teeth. It hears what you miss and smells what you can't see. Relying on your own senses at 70% efficiency is arrogance. We also need to address the medication tether. Millions are alive today solely because of a supply chain that delivers blood pressure meds, insulin, and statins. If the grid goes down, that chain breaks. If you are on a beta blocker, your heart rate literally cannot rise to meet a survival demand. You try to run, your brain says go, and your heart says I'm capped at 100 beats per minute. You pass out. If you are diabetic, you are on a strict countdown. This isn't something you can tough out. You need to stockpile, yes, but you also need to taper and adapt now while doctors still exist. If you wait until the pharmacy burns down to realize you are physically addicted to modern medicine, you are already a casualty. Let's be honest about sleep. In a survival scenario, sleep is when you get killed. But as you age, your sleep fragments. You wake up to pee, you wake up because your hip hurts. You don't get deep restorative REM sleep. This leads to cognitive decline. You make mistakes, you forget to lock a gate, you leave a fire burning. You need to structure your life around sleep discipline. You cannot pull all-nighters on watch. You need a shift system. If you are alone, you will hallucinate by day 3 and shoot a shadow that turns out to be your own reflection. So what is the verdict? Is it hopeless? No, it is just different. The history of warfare is written by old men who sent young men to die. Why? Because the old men knew where to stand, so they wouldn't get hit. You have to stop trying to be the hero of the movie. Heroes die. The survivor is the guy who hid under the dumpster, waited for the shooting to stop, and then scavenged the guns off the dead heroes. You have spent 40 years accumulating patience, treachery, and skills. Use them. Don't try to lift the rubble, build a lever. Don't try to outrun the mob. Map the escape route they don't know about. Don't try to fight the You're old, wait until he falls asleep. Your aging body is not a temple, it is a crumbling castle. But castles are hard to take if defenses are built right. Shore up the walls, dig the moat, and stop pretending you are going to charge out onto the battlefield with a sword. You are the frantic engineer inside the keep, pouring boiling oil on anyone stupid enough to climb the ladder. That is how you survive the biology of decline. You don't win by being stronger. You win by being the smartest broken thing in the ruins. Science doesn't care about your ego. Gravity doesn't care about your deadlift record. The only thing that matters is the math. And if you adjust the variables, leverage teamwork treachery, you can still solve the equation. Stay mobile, stay paranoid, and for the love of physics, use a cart.